Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, Smooth.
Smooth?
How are you?
Am I smooth?
We got
Yeah,
new
you're
nicknames,
so good.
man.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
working up to starting the recording here. We ended up with some new nicknames.
We got a live wire going on tonight, and it's already started.
Yes, this should make for an interesting podcast, no doubt, and video cast.
It's going to be fun, no doubt about it. Yeah, we've been given nicknames. We didn't expect that coming in, but thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Silky and
No.
smooth.
Okay.
She's making valuable contributions already.
Just right out of the blocks. I told you it's a live wire. Here we go. Let's get to it. Is that what you say?
I did.
Okay.
I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are. By the way, we might as well just jump right in since you're here, and
folks that are watching this on video can see her already.
that's right.
Now, if you're listening to the audio version, you don't have that opportunity.
We have a special guest tonight, and we're thrilled to have her. Stacey Lampman has joined us on the podcast tonight, and for those of you who don't know her, she is, honestly, something special. There you go.
Thank you.
Let me tell you a little bit about Stacey as we get started. Stacey is a designer, an interior designer, I guess specifically, right?
Yep.
And she lives in Fredericksburg. She has a very noteworthy and influential firm called Spaces Design Studio, of which she is the maybe sole owner or primary owner. As the sole owner, as well as the CEO of that firm. One of the things about Spaces, if you live in this part of Virginia, you know that there's a variety of big jobs that get done that need design work, and many of those larger, more important projects, Stacey gets the nod. She gets the invite to bid on them, and once that word gets out there, people continue to come back, and so it's been fun to watch that. Full disclosure, also for everybody. The reason that I know Stacey is I first met her because we contacted her to actually design this beautiful brewery that we're sitting in right now, Six Bears and a Goat. We're actually in a conference room. That's why the boring gray walls, and we've already been criticized about that by Stacey.
Yes,
So,
we've changed our
sorry.
venue.
Right.
It would have been.
Right.
It looks like we're kind of crunched in a little bit here now, but it would have been even more so had we been in our normal recording location.
Yeah, and so Stacey, we're thrilled to have you here. Graduate of Ole Miss, graduate of Marymount University, and here you are getting it done as a totally plugged in and influential member of the local community, which is one of the reasons, as you know, here on Graybeard Chronicles, we're all about talking to folks that are making a difference and that are having an impact, and we like chatting with folks like you so that we can learn some things and educate our listening audience, who is full of a bunch of smart people who are trying to improve their own lives. And thank you very, very much for joining us today on this. We appreciate it.
No, I so appreciate it. And I'm honored because, the one thing you want to do in Fredericksburg is be part of the community and make a difference. So
You're doing that. Absolutely. And it's one more reason that it's particularly appropriate is it is International Women's Day today.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep, and Women's History Month, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, so you're like
Yeah.
Rolling strikes or something.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Girl power.
Girl power. Girl power. There we go. Let me point out one last thing that I want to talk about, and maybe that's how we kick it off, and that would be, I remember having a conversation with you. It's been more than a year ago, and you were sharing the story about being voted in as the president of FABA. Is that how you guys say it, or is it FABA or FABA? How do you say that?
Everybody says it differently, but
Okay,
it
I'm going to say FABA because that's what
works for me.
That's what rolls off my tongue.
Yeah, me too.
FABA stands for Fredericksburg Area Builders Association, and Stacey, in a highly, I don't know if the word unusual, highly unusual move, was voted in, and not as a builder, to be the president of something that I think, in layman's terms, is very much a man's world. And there you are, getting it done. I think that's your term is over, right? You've rotated out, or
Correct. I'm
okay.
still on the board. Yeah, but
So how did that happen? How does a person like you, who obviously is very good at what they do, end up in that position? How did you find yourself there? And you don't strike me, and that's the kind of position that you would be politicking for, but that you just sort of rose through the ranks and through the the outstanding performance over time, as well as the relationships that you had with folks. Yeah, tell us about that.
okay. Well, I was brought into that position through an affiliation with engineers in our local area.
Okay.
Woman-owned company, Legacy Engineering.
Okay.
Sarah Fila and Bruce Reese.
Okay.
And Bruce had been a mentor for many years, and as well as Sarah. And honestly, I had at first been a little hesitant to stay away from the Builders Association because I was not a builder. And I was brought in because they were looking for associate members who were professionals and wanted to contribute to the industry. So I joined at the time, and quickly, by being embraced by several builders, Sean Halsey and Gene Brown, kind of looped me in and taught me the ropes. But it's a progressive rise, so you commit for a 3 to 4 year period, and you work your way up.
Okay.
And although I was not a builder, and it was the first year they allowed an associate to become president
Okay.
of the organization, it's been around for 53 years.
Okay.
And I would say definitely it's 7 jurisdictions within our area. And I'm the second woman president. So, for an industry that seems largely driven by a male population,
Right.
or people have an image of a specific type of person that would work their way up in that.
Right.
I was certainly not the typical, I would
Right.
say.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. And I didn't mean that in a disparaging way at all
not at
toward
all.
any of the men who have served in that position. The truth of the matter is, men and women tend to at times migrate to certain types of jobs just because that's what they enjoy, and men like building stuff, and and so that's why most builders are men. That's a fact. And just like most men are mechanics, and most men are, name any, and there's a lot more women doing other kinds of jobs, and so for you to wake up one day and this is what I imagine, you wake up one day and all of a sudden, you're the president of this organization. That's amazing. That's impressive. So, yeah,
Great.
well done.
Thank you. I would say, my father was in that industry. So, yes, you're totally right. There were a lot of men in that industry, but he motivated me. He took me to construction sites, and he's a big mentor of mine.
Yeah, so I think you've alluded to this a little bit in the response that you had just a second ago to Kevin, and even what you're saying about your father. But ultimately, what I'm curious about is, what can you really point to as far as the key things that maybe were in your strategy? Did you set out to ultimately be in that role as president of that organization? And if so, what was kind of your mindset and the strategy that you employed to get there?
So that's a great question. I would say that normally I probably wouldn't have stepped into that position. I think it's a lot of people that motivated me around me, and supported me to go into that position and believed in me. So that would be the number one. The number two is in order to be a really good designer or in the architectural field as a whole, you have to be a good problem solver. And I think, and also a good analyst. So listening to people, understanding what the needs are, and then coming up with a solution was really what I was to achieve in that position. That was the best route. I think a lot of people prior to me, it was just time for a little bit of bridging, if you will, between counties, between jurisdictions. It is an industry-wide process, not necessarily a specific to building. It's the building industry. And the building industry consists of very different professionals and very different types of fields.
Very cool. Say more about the bridging aspect of that.
I think overall development and construction has a bad name, unfortunately.
Development does? Did you say?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I feel that way, and I've noticed that. Let's say it's not my experience per se prior to joining FAVA, because I'm truly just working for the client most of the time. What I've learned is overall the reputation, right, is tough to overcome, because as a whole, whether it's the county, the state, the nation, they see development as a negative thing.
Okay. Yeah. Now I wasn't. Now I'm understanding. Okay.
Right. And so I think what we're missing is the positives that come out of that. And I think on the flip side, most of the jurisdictions that we work with, the counties, it tends to be like a battleground for some reason. It's, hey, I want to build this, and no, you may not.
Right.
and then we're years of working through that. I think the bridging part, and what I feel like my role was in this last year, was to create a bridge between the counties and an understanding and a relationship that we're all working towards the same goal. And what can we do to participate in development that's positive growth? I don't believe that any of the developers out there are really wanting to knock down all the trees and, create an unhealthy habitat and
right,
et cetera, et cetera. I think those developers are working towards the same goal. They just have obstacles in their way that are created sometimes by our county systems.
Right.
So.
Well, that's cool that you say that, and it's interesting when you kind of dive deeper into the mentality of that, because I wonder from a locality perspective, right? You can talk about what's the mindset, what's the intent of the building community, the developers, and so on, but what is the mindset of the county, right? So I'm thinking about these folks that work in these offices, and are they sitting around thinking about all the exciting new things that are coming to this community, and what can we do to approve these? Or are they sitting there thinking, here's yet another application, what can we do to disapprove this one? Because it's like, what lens are you looking at stuff through? Because that ultimately is going to kind of drive the outcome. And I could see that potentially being, one or the other.
My opinion, which is all I have to offer right now,
Right.
is that my experience with the counties is that they're not trying to truly create an obstacle. They're trying to work their way into giving, and doing the best that's for the community. They're trying to make the community better. And there are rules and codes, and we spend a great deal of time researching those codes. I think the hang up is when communication stops. It's like anything. I don't believe that any of the counties are trying to create obstacles to prevent growth in their communities. But I think at the end of the day, we just have to work together. I think there are a lot of previous experiences in place in any jurisdictions that they form an opinion of certain developers or certain groups, and it affects the whole party.
They're trying to balance. They're trying to balance the needs and desires of multiple different major groups of people. They're trying to protect those landowners who've been there forever and don't want change,
right?
Maybe, or others that do want change. They want their neighborhood to. It's just so many. There's so many masters that they're trying to answer to that it can become. They can just get all contorted. And again, that's not in a pejorative way. I mean, they're trying to. I mean, they've been elected and put into office. People want them there. And so I'm talking about the supervisors primarily, right? And they're the ones ultimately who make the coding decisions. Or maybe they're the ones that ultimately, but it's the people below it.
On the localities, sure.
Okay, on the localities. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I think you said something that was key, though, and communication. You call that out, right? I mean, that's, leadership and communication. We solve those two problems, or you look at any particular problem. I don't care what the problem is. You dive into it to try to figure out what the root causes were. Communication and leadership are going to be in there somewhere.
Absolutely. And I'll say, what I've found recently is most of the counties, and I happen to live in Stafford County, they've done a 180. They're absolutely willing and able to help us through the process.
Yeah.
And I have yet to meet somebody that isn't willing to have a conversation. They're starting to bring us as FABA into the conversation, which I greatly appreciate. And I just want the Board of Supervisors to do the same thing, allow us a seat at the table.
Yeah, and I ask you that question not to put you on the spot or shine any negative light on anybody. I mean, ultimately, my intent there with that question was to learn, right, and to better understand, because I think whether you're in the building industry or whatever, there are those people that you deal with that are, coming into the situation with some predisposition. And, are they looking for ways to enable you to accomplish what it is you're setting out to accomplish, or are they looking for ways to block you and stop you? And I was just curious how, what your experience is in that world.
My experience is, and honest, I've been in this industry for 30 years and all over. We work from North Carolina up New York. I mean,
how can that be? You don't look 30.
That's a good one. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well
it's
done.
The makeover.
Well
I'm
done.
just kidding.
That's why she calls him smooth.
Smooth.
Yes.
So I will say my experience personally is that I have yet to meet a county that isn't willing to work with us. And part of, again, my role was to bridge that gap. I think our organization as an association is meant to help everyone in the industry, not a particular group. And, electing a president that isn't necessarily a builder, I think the positive part of that associate membership is that I'm neutral. My job doesn't necessarily depend on whether certain codes are passed within the development arena. But, it ripples. It affects everybody. It affects the trades. Like, just when you make a decision, it affects the guy that's painting. It affects the framers. It affects, the roofers. So everybody looks at it like the big bad developer. But at the end of the day, it's the the guy that's trying to support his family. So I think we tend to look at them as a corporation when really it's made up of people, regular people, just trying to get by.
I want to, well, first of all, on that last thing, I watched you be that bridge with respect to your ability to negotiate between the county and the brewery in trying to get all accomplished that we try to do here. And like you said, you can speak the language for both sides, and you can close the gap between the two by communicating back and forth. So that worked great.
And God bless you for that, by the way, because we wouldn't be here had you not accomplished some of those things.
There you go. There you go.
Kevin and I met because of this brewery.
That's right.
Teamwork.
Yep.
But I wanted to circle back to a little bit more about you personally. And you said something that caught my attention. And so I'll tell you what that was, and then I want you to add to it. In terms of what makes you tick, and perhaps, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, you are where you came from. And so you mentioned your father and the influence that he had on you when you were going through the developmental stages of deciding who you were going to be and what you were going to do. And your father, I've heard from previous conversations, was not an interior designer. He was, I think, a civil engineer, right?
Correct.
And so that's not design, but it's a world that's kind of closely associated. Anyway, what does make you tick, and how did you get there? And was it from your father? And talk to us about that influence.
So I would 100%. I basically, at the time that I had to decide what I wanted to do with my life and college, which path was I going to take, I reached out to him and said, yeah, what do you think? And he put me on this path, and I never looked back.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
He put you on the design path?
Yeah, specifically, he set up internships, which I, to this day, will attest is the best way to mentor upcoming designers, or actually in any field,
right.
Internships, so that you can figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's tough. And then I trusted my father very much. And so when he said, Stacey, you should do design for a living, I said, okay. And then I had a path that I had to choose between architecture and design. He set up interviews so I could make that decision, whether it was going to be urban, commercial, or residential. I made that decision. And I pivot constantly, so I get bored easily. But that might be because part of my influence, if you will, in design was very adventure-based, right? So I would ride in a C-130 close to the ocean. He was a CB, by the way, which I love CBs.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was NM CB1. And we would get on a C-130, and I would belt in, strap in with the doors open, and we would fly over the ocean and land on an island, Antigua, out of Puerto Rico. And then we would land, get in a military Jeep, bump along, go look at his construction sites, which I loved every minute of. And then we would go snorkeling. Actually, nice. At the age of 6 is when that started. So, and then we would snorkel out, go explore, and then get back on the C-130 and fly back home. So, yeah.
That's
I
pretty
would
cool.
say that my design life is integrated with travel. 100%.
That's very cool. I'm grinning because I'm having this flashback from something that our listeners and our viewers didn't have the privilege or the horror of experiencing, watching us sing before we started here. Although I do have some of it captured on video, and you might see it again at some point.
Oh, God.
But when you started out and you're talking about the C-130, and then you said Antigua, right? And I'm thinking, Antigua, Bahama.
Yeah.
Come on, pretty. You know the song.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was just like spinning around in my head when you were saying that.
That was smooth. Well
No,
done.
that was silky.
Oh, no,
You're
I'm smooth. Right.
Kevin keeps forgetting that he's smooth.
I'm smooth.
Right.
You're silky. That's what
That's what Paula said.
Oh,
Kevin keeps forgetting that he's smooth.
It's just because I'm naturally smooth.
Smooth.
There we go. So for me, here's one of the takeaways. Big flashing, parents. Parents have a tremendous impact on their kids. And a lot of times you don't even realize it. Because I'm not sure your father, maybe he did. I doubt it, because most parents don't. He didn't pull out a notebook and say, here's all the things I'm going to do to expose Stacey to this world that she's going to go, become an accomplished professional in. He's just going to take you around and let you see the world and watch what he does. And then once you begin to express an interest in certain things, then he's going to help you along the path. And so parents, there you go. That's, the amount of time that you take to invest in your kids and involve them in your life and the things that you do, that is really important. And so, awesome.
100%.
There you go.
That's powerful, man. That's
well go, Dad. Well done, Dad. Goodness.
And I will say, my mom unpacking and packing
Okay.
in a 2-year time period,
Yeah.
she rocks with that.
Okay.
I mean, we moved a lot.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
it's also the
Thanks,
support.
Mom and Dad. Right.
Yeah, it's the importance of parenting. We can't talk enough about that, man. And the messages that you either knowingly or unknowingly communicate to your children is hugely powerful and impacting. I was having some interesting conversations with one of my daughters yesterday about she was using the example that you see these different memes out there about the your childhood experiences with holding the flashlight for your father while they're working on something. Yeah, she I don't even remember this, but she was sharing with me a funny story about something like that, right? And I was putting something together, and apparently I put it together wrong, and I got pissed off about it. And I'm way more chill today than I was 20 years ago, and she would certainly affirm that. But she was commenting on that, and she started laughing at me, and I basically sent her in the house. I'm like, you think this is funny? Get your ass in the house.
And then she smiled at you as she walked into the kitchen and then walked out the back door.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. She my daughters, I love them both. They're absolutely incredible women, and I just am in awe of both of them. And I've apologized to them for some of my shortcomings as a father in my younger days. I've said, now I've got 2 granddaughters, and I got an opportunity to do that again and do it right without some of the foobars that I had, early on.
No, I agree. So my father, who took me on canoe trips that went awry, plane trips that went awry, and dropped me off.
What does that mean exactly? What go awry?
Went awry.
Trips, what that go awry? Does that mean it?
Right.
Does that mean it flipped over? What does that mean?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like
All right.
tiny in a canoe. And I was floating down the river, but he flipped me over, and then he was kind of like, "Don't tell your mom." But
Yes.
all of those experiences
Right.
are so good. And what's funny, looking now, is that he's very cautious with his grandchildren,
Right.
which cracks me
Isn't
up
that
because I
funny?
thought,
Yeah.
Well, it's important that you learn as you go, right? When you
Yeah,
do something
I
that scares
guess.
the shit out of you, maybe you shouldn't repeat it.
they
Losing
are,
one of your children or almost losing one of your children in a canoe accident. It's funny because I had a similar experience with my youngest daughter in a whitewater rafting incident.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No.
underwater
Yeah,
stuff.
it was bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my parents were like military hippies. So
Nice.
they were
Wow,
like,
there's 2 words that you don't hear
No.
going
No.
together very often.
you don't. It was the 70s.
I was gonna say from that time
no
era though,
seatbelts.
that's spot on. Yeah.
No,
Wow.
I mean, they were, he was, it was Vietnam War. He drove me back and forth across the United
The
States with my
Seabees
mom.
though, the Seabees that I know, I could absolutely see them being in that category.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what's not to love?
Yeah. I got my ass kicked by a Seabee one time.
I was like, they can build a bridge while shooting at you.
Yeah. No shit. This guy kicked me upside the head like it was the right thing to do.
Well, I don't know what the circumstance was. But
Is that good?
I'm not
I probably
not
deserved
judging.
it. Yeah, I was coming to the aid of a friend of mine who had gotten into a fight, and this guy didn't like it. So
Not your best.
No.
Silky stage.
No. There was nothing smooth or silky about that one. That dude, he kicked me upside the head before I even realized what the hell hit me. And it was interesting because my sunglasses, I was in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba at the time at the Marine Barracks, and my sunglasses wouldn't fit right for like a week. My eye was so swollen that I put my sunglasses on and one side would stick out further than the other.
Was this a Billy Jack moment?
It was not. Oh, yeah, I could see that.
In that scene where he says, "I'm going to take my right foot and hit you on the left side of your face." And there's not a damn thing you're going to do about it.
Right. Well, he didn't actually say that, but he probably could have.
Okay.
Because it happened that damn fast. And of course, we'd been in the club and partaking, and yeah.
How old were you?
Probably 19, maybe.
Okay. How old was the CB?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah. So he was building something, engineering something, and kicked you in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. No, but I mean, age, right?
Yeah.
Getting back to
age and experience.
Age and experience.
No doubt. I was full of age and inexperience, or lack of age and inexperience.
Or learning the hard way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
That's good.
So back to your dad for a second.
I don't know how we got off on that path, but anyways.
So your dad and your mom, it's one thing to be put on the right path. It's another thing to actually do something with it once you're there and become the very successful person that you are today. So what are the attributes? What are the traits? What is it in your brain that made you decide, damn it, I'm going to stick with, whatever the right, story that you're telling in your head that has kept you on the path and got you to the point that you are today, that folks can perhaps listen to and go, wow, I can get something from that. Well, yeah.
So I think it's really, the key word to me is adventure, right? So to me, my career path, I love everything I do. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
Okay.
Right? And so a lot of people will tell you money is everything. I didn't set out to own my own company by any stretch. I was going to work for the large architectural firms that I worked for, and they gave me many opportunities that I wouldn't have had. And so this is my second company, was really out of necessity. But I would say the reason why I decided to go that path, is adventure and doing what I love. So to pursue what I love for a living. And part of that path is figuring it out, right? Like, I did not go and get my MBA, right? I went to school to be a designer.
Right.
And I went to school to be a designer for very large international firms all over the country. I did that. But life throws you, obstacles, or I don't know, maybe it's positives, and you adjust and you pivot. And so my pivot was to own a company to allow me to be near my family, which is incredibly important to me. And I've done both, working mom and stay-at-home mom.
Yep.
And I think everybody has their own path, for sure. My path, personally, was I volunteered for everything under the sun while I was a stay-at-home mom. And I'm drawn to achieving certain goals. And that's not to say that stay-at-home moms aren't achieving those goals. That was the hardest job I've ever done in my life, a stay-at-home mom. Hands down, like the hardest job. But I will say, like, my motivation came because I love problem solving. I love design. I love creativity. And I like expressing myself through design in general. So whether it's an art installation, which I've done, whether it's a design of a restaurant or someone's home, like, it motivates me. I don't take on any projects that I don't want to do because I have that luxury right now. But that means I'm all in. My heart is in it. Passion is in it. And sometimes that's good in a business, and sometimes that's bad. So, for me, it's emotional.
Okay. So Brian, she used a word that I want to ask you about based on your life experience, because you're a lot older than Stacey. And based on all of the guests that we have.
But I'm not older than you.
I knew it's always the same.
Right.
It's always the
you didn't
same.
think I was going to let that go,
Yeah,
right?
No, you never do. So no. Anyway, back to what I was going to say. I have never heard anybody unless you're a skydiver, a ski instructor, a park ranger, talking about one of the things that drives them, that motivates them, is adventure. And you live kind of interestingly, you straddle this world between sort of white collar and blue collar, both. You kind of live in both. And typically you wouldn't think that adventure is the word that makes you. It's really interesting. I kind of like it. So have you seen people that are driven like that, or?
I think I have.
Okay.
I've never, I don't know that I've heard someone from this industry, right, articulated in that way. And I think that's really cool. And I mean, adventure, to be an adventure seeker and have the ability to do that in your job every day, that's pretty damn cool.
So this is what I like about that word. This is what I like. This is ultimately where I'm headed. You get what you're looking for in life. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for adventure, you're going to find it.
Absolutely.
And you're going to find it every single day when you're in the process of dealing with a client, trying to solve this problem and design it in a way, and all of it is an adventure. So anyway, I think that's another cool takeaway for the audience, is to say, think about it as an adventure. Yeah, think about it as an adventure and make it happen that way.
I agree. You never know what's coming.
Yeah.
And you don't know, you can have all the tools possible, right?
Right.
And sometimes you just got to dig, or you've got to ask other people. You have to inquire. You have to
engage
keep
others.
learning.
Absolutely.
Right. I don't by any stretch think that I know 100% of what I'm doing every day, but I know I'm learning.
Absolutely.
So it's adventurous, which makes it interesting, which makes it never a dull moment. So if you peel, so that's the kind of and that can manifest itself in all kind of different ways. So one level below that, I mean, words we're used to hearing: perseverance and stamina and pressing on and working hard and taking risk. Those are kind of all the normal stuff that you hear.
Okay.
I mean, is that also part of it, or what? How would you?
Sure.
Okay, she gave me the wrinkled brow.
Yeah, because that's the tough stuff.
Okay.
Right? That's the stuff that gets a small business on their feet and able to stand up for 14 years, perseverance. Man, there are good days and bad days. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, you gotta pick yourself up and brush yourself off.
Yeah.
I think you said that earlier.
Yes, I did.
That was a very Wyoming, Montana kind of cowboy.
Yes. I was telling the story that my father said to me all the time, and we've said on this podcast any number of times, and that is, life is not fair. Never has been, never will be. And the sooner that all of us accept that in our lives, as every once in a while you're going to get screwed. Every once in a while, something is going to be done to you that's unfair.
Totally.
Those things are going to happen. And you can wring your hands and cry and complain and bitch and sue and whatever you want to do, all of it. And all of that is appropriate and legitimate. But eventually, you got to get over it. And so just accept that it ain't fair. It ain't going to be fair. Just accept it for what it is and move on.
E plus R equals O. E plus R equals
I know
O.
I've heard this before. Please
Okay,
remind us. Yes.
I don't know.
So events are going to occur in your life, right? That's the E. Plus R. How you respond to it is going to determine the outcome, right? So there's bad shit that's going to occur.
Right.
You don't have any control over it.
Right.
What you have control over is how you respond to it. And your response is going to dictate the outcome.
That's very deep, Silky.
Yes.
Nice.
Silky.
Nice. You're still trying to break me, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying.
I am.
This man is hard to break. I saw a little.
Yeah.
But that was very deep, and that's very true.
Yeah.
Because if you can't overcome, it's tough. Like, I don't care what it is. Yeah, I don't care if you're going through school or an internship or a job or, you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off.
Yep.
Keep going.
There you go.
One step at a time. One day at a time. And sometimes it's really hard. It's like you're in sand.
I have a question.
Yes. Silky. I broke him. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Noted.
Yeah. Nice. All right. I totally lost my train of thought there for a second.
What was your question? Come on.
Hold on. I'm working on it. I'm trying to bring it back. So I know one of the answers to this based on some other things that you've said already. What I want to know is, what are your 3 primary or most important values? What do you care about most?
Ooh.
I gotta think about this. I wasn't prepared for that one. 3 primary
values.
Oof. So I'll work my way up from the bottom. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Loyalty is a big one to me.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. This is tough. Yep. You've caught me off guard. So, drive.
Okay.
Would be my second.
All right.
Keep on going, right? And the first one is to pursue what you love.
Yeah, I would certainly say that you're walking the talk in all of those. The one that jumped out at me, interestingly enough, and I know sometimes when you're put on the spot like this, you don't necessarily think of it, but I know that just listening to you and some of the comments you made earlier, family is certainly an important value for you. So I know that it would make that top 3 or 4 list, anyways.
Yeah.
But when you get put on the spot like that, but man, I love that you said loyalty, because that's important to me.
Yeah, and I think that's an old value, right? Like, I'm not sure that comes up right now in this generation.
What comes up? I'm sorry.
Loyalty.
Okay.
Then we're dropping the ball. We got to figure out how to make that stick.
Goodness, you are correct about that.
I'm saying that's something that back in the day,
Oof.
growing up
that's a good
all
one.
around the world, like, man, people stuck to their tribe. Do you know what I mean? In every meeting, like, they supported their elders, they supported the people that were around them, they supported their family, they supported the workers that were around them.
Right.
They were loyal. I'm not sure right now, that is something that's taught like it was in previous years.
Yeah.
I think that it's our job, right? Is our job as a parent, as a mentor, as a business owner, is to teach loyalty. But part of that is us doing our job too. Part of teaching loyalty is respect for the people that you work with.
Amen.
And paying them what they deserve to get paid, and honoring the people that you're around, honoring your family, honoring the people that you work with as family, because that creates loyalty. And once you have that loyalty factor, everybody's gonna, you're a tribe. That's the whole point. You've got support all the time, good or bad.
Yeah. Oh,
you know what I love about this?
I love that she's calling out tribes and loyalty and honor. Man, you are singing my song.
So loyalty.
Which you didn't expect, did you, Silky?
So here's the cool thing.
I'm so glad you're doing that.
So here's the cool thing is I had no expectations other than the fact that I know that Kevin is not going to invite anybody in here that is not going to be the caliber of person that we want sharing information with our listeners. And you are absolutely delivering on that. So.
That's a compliment. So I appreciate it, especially coming from you, because you don't break. But Kevin's a good people reader, so I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
He doesn't accept compliments well, clearly. Smooth.
loyalty, drive, pursue what you love. So there's another good thing for everybody to take away from this. But circling back to loyalty for a minute, and this is why I love that as well. That it sort of struck me the same way that it struck you, Bryant, is that me, Kevin, you, Stacey, you, Bryant, are going to continue to make mistakes in your life. You're going to blow it. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall. You're going to look like a fool. Sometimes you're going to blow it big time.
Right.
The people who stick with you through that, they are the people who are loyal and say, damn it, I saw that in all its glory, and I'm still with you.
Right.
100%.
I have a friend who will go unnamed, so that, but this friend has seen me through the ups and downs and the all-arounds.
Right.
And all of us probably go through something like that, right? Where you expect, I don't deserve to be given credit for anything right now because I really blew it. And this friend has always been there. And that's what loyalty is. And that they don't teach that right now. In fact, it's very vogue to kind of call people out for something that they did, and make sure that the whole world knows about it. That's not loyalty. No. That's bullshit.
Well,
that's
and we did a podcast on customer loyalty. Right. And I think we talked briefly about customer service, which I think is not the bar. Customer loyalty is the bar, because just what you said, you build customer loyalty, people will be more forgiving when you make mistakes because they know that's not the norm, because you've created that connection with them.
And most people know that they're not perfect. In the privacy of their own heads, in the dark of night, they know they're not perfect. And so they give you forgiveness, when they've been taught to be loyal. And that's back to your part of the mentorship. I know that you are a mentor to people out there, and part of the things that mentors can pass on to the next generation is this issue of loyalty.
Yes.
So that's another good one. Yeah, I like it.
I also think it allows, the mistake part, right?
Yeah.
We all trip.
Absolutely.
If I don't trip every day, I trip a lot during the week, during a month, during a year.
Yeah.
So I rely on those people to believe in me and vice versa.
And you and them. Right. You return it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's like we all are going to trip and fall.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Whoa, yeah. I'm in a sand pit most of the time trying to get out. And I've got like 5 people pulling me out, which is amazing.
Right.
And that's loyalty and friendship, right? So
Brian,
it's important.
I know we're getting near the end, but I have one more question for Stacey that I have to ask.
Is it about singing with Cher?
Actually, I have 2 more questions now since you said that.
I can't sing.
Could you sing a quick bar for us? Just go ahead and just like any little ditty. Can you just do a little ditty? Little ditty.
No, you don't want to hear me.
Come on,
sing.
how about some little John Denver? Come on, give us some John Denver.
The only way I'll do, because Mountain Mama is me.
How about Grandma's Feather Bed?
I don't know what you're saying because you're
Grandma's Feather Bed.
Grandma's Feather Bed.
I don't even have to worry about looking for this because it's going to be on the main program.
I know. I feel like, we could do Country Roads, but
Grandma's Feather Bed. Take me down and be wet.
That's some deep.
Have some more of that, Captain Morgan there, buddy.
I'm going to stop you there, Smooth.
Okay.
I expect more.
He's silky, right? I'm Smooth.
Good Lord.
All right.
It's taking a whole hour and he doesn't get it.
All right. Here's the question. So after this podcast is over and you are,
me
processing all that's happened here, you're going to think of something that you wish you would have said or something that you would have communicated to our listening audience so that they know that. I want you to think of that now. I don't want you to think about it later.
That's a good question.
Oh.
I like that.
Okay.
That requires me driving down the road thinking to myself.
All right, so you're in your car, you're driving, you're on 17, you're listening to...
Sitting in traffic, driving my Target.
You're listening to Duran Duran.
Country roads.
Take me home.
What is it? What is it that you want? What is it?
West Virginia.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You started that shit.
I did.
Okay. So is the one thing that I would...
You want our audience to take away from this, that if you could communicate in the spirit of passing on the wisdom of the ages, that's the spirit of this. You want about design, about drive, about loyalty, about whatever. I want you to lay in bed, when you're thinking about this tonight and go,
In your 30
I'm glad
years,
I said that.
in your 30 years on this planet.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's more than 30 years. 30 years is a business. But,
No, I'm just saying 30 years on this planet.
Okay, well, that's nice.
Let's try to
So
sing,
I appreciate
sling
that.
a compliment your way.
Okay, taking it. Really, I think the takeaway for me is to mentor. Is to bring up the younger people and take the time to mentor them
wow.
in every way that you can, as a parent, as a company, as a teacher. Rise them up. And it's appropriate for for this to be International Women's Day, right? Let them get on your back and rise them up so that they understand that you're there for them, that you're going to teach them, and that you're going to raise them to be better people. And then as a country, as a society, we're all better because we're lifting other people up.
I'm getting chills.
Wow.
I'm getting chills.
Give me some love for that. That was
Yeah.
outstanding.
I got a high five.
Yeah,
Yes.
outstanding.
Yes.
Man, it's we've said over and over again, Kevin, about the importance of leaving this place better than it was when you got here.
Right.
And that can be applied. That template can be applied to so many different areas of our life. And man, the mentor aspect, I know it's something I care about, you care about, and I so greatly appreciate you calling that out because you're doing it. And some of the conversations that we had, just in preparation before we started, you're walking that talk. So I think that's cool.
I appreciate that. I try. Not perfect.
It's what it is honestly it is the foundation of what we're trying to do with this podcast.
Well, you've done
so the fact that you call that out, give us the opportunity to talk about it once again.
I mean, life experience is valuable.
You bet.
And we can share it with other people so that they can avoid some of the same pitfalls that you've experienced and achieve greater success as a result. Who would not want a piece of that?
Right.
No, definitely. Right. And luckily, I think we all have had mentors that lifted us up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Whether they were, specifically identified that way, right? I mean, I know we've had mentors that you've, sought out to be that,
right.
And then you've had other people that have acted in that capacity, and they might not have known it, and you might not have known it at the time, and yet that's exactly what they were.
Right.
Got to keep doing it. Got to keep doing that mentorship. And the thing is, you also called out not just at work, but in your family, among your friends, all of that. Be the example, bring them along, be loyal to them, all of that. It's wonderful.
Life is 24/7, whether you're at work or at home or wherever, you know. Make it better for everybody that you interact with.
Right.
Hands down, and COVID definitely made us refocus.
Yeah. Oof.
Right? In such a, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but in a positive way.
Yeah, it did. Oh, yeah.
Made me focus on the things that were important.
Amen. Yeah. Lots of good things happened to me in COVID.
Yeah. Well, you're right on that.
Thanks,
She
Paula.
has a name.
Yes, thanks, Paula. Yes, indeed.
Paula.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
No.
Right.
You're amazing anyway. You just found your light.
I did. That's a good way to say
Found your light.
Found your
Yeah.
light.
That's
Wow.
cool.
Awesome.
We all have that.
All right, parting thoughts. What have we said that we or what haven't we said that we need to say before we roll out for the evening?
I got it. I got it. I got it from her, so I'm good.
So you've listened to these podcasts, right? Any last parting comments before we roll out?
No. Well, I mean, do you want me to really say it?
Oh.
I mean,
so,
you point blank asked.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, absolutely. Roll with it. What you got?
I was like, if you got gray beards, where's the lady?
Well, so
Is she a bearded lady?
She's sitting right here, right next to us.
Oh, God.
There we go.
Are you calling me out?
No.
Because I'm just saying waxing places are closed right now.
we are not calling you out.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh,
No,
Lordy.
I mean, seriously, though.
Yeah, so the gray beards are somewhat gender neutral when it comes to content. The whole idea is to share the wisdom of the ages with our listeners, and wisdom can come from any gender.
Agreed.
The two that God gave us, and all the other ones that people want to make up.
There you go.
Okay, I think they've done pretty well. He answered the question, and I was pretty grueling at the beginning, and Silky over here doesn't know me very well, so
No,
he
she was pretty rough in the prep though. She came out fighting.
Yeah, you all missed that. You all missed that. Yeah.
look, it wouldn't be me if I didn't come
No,
out.
but I like it. I appreciate it, because you're coming into a strange environment, Kevin, and you've listened to some of the podcasts, and at the same time, coming in here as a guest and not really knowing what to expect. It's not like we give you any questions beforehand and we tell you, this is exactly how it's going to go. It takes some trust and a little bit of courage on your part to be willing to engage in the conversation, because you just don't know. And I certainly appreciate you being willing to engage, and I appreciate the banter back and forth beforehand and during the podcast.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you honoring the fact that, everybody feels that way coming into the situation.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. I can only.
You made it.
All right. I
Yeah,
passed.
I'm checking it off the list.
One of the things you guys don't know is before we started, we were like wound up of a very high order. And the thing that's most amazing about that is when we started this podcast.
Part of the problem was Stacey was late.
Oh, okay. Traffic on 17 sucks. And I'm always late. But okay. Kevin can't
And I was
speak.
going to make such a good point, and you guys just totally let the air out of my balloon.
Oh, no, go ahead. We got
All
you.
right, so we had all this banter beforehand, and we were kind of wound up. I mean, it was, and then we started out the podcast, and it was as flat. It was kind of like
It was a little flat to begin with.
I felt
right?
like I was in church listening to organ music, and that's what it really did.
I was toning it back.
You holy!
So
friggin'
I
Lord.
hope people had the good sense to stick it out, right? Because it got better as we
did.
but it did start out kind of like a bad sermon.
It really sounded. I mean, it was like I don't know what it really was like. I don't know, 7th grade Sunday school.
Also,
or something.
you may just need a female full time.
Okay. All right.
Nice, well said on International Women's Day.
There you go. There you go. All right.
I like to be here to just rally you up.
Yes. Well done.
All right.
Well, at some point here in the very near future, we're going to be having some live events. They won't be live as in broadcasted live, but they will be recorded live.
in front of a live studio audience.
Exactly. And we might need some on stage talent to come in and maybe assist with MC duties or something to that.
Banter.
Yeah.
Drive you crazy. Like poke you.
Stacey, you have no idea what you just signed up for. You have no
I'm gonna poke you with
friggin'
like
idea.
an electrical rod
Right.
because he's
Right.
like, I don't know. Kevin's like,
With an electrical
I'm sorry.
prod? Are we bringing like cattle prods in here? What the hell? This is getting weird quickly.
no. I mean, okay. I mean, if you're okay with that, I'll poke you.
Testicles.
Oh, easy there, big fella.
I did not say that, by the way. That was all you.
You didn't say it, but you
That
meant
was
it.
a lot of
You
Montana,
totally-
Wyoming up in there.
You totally meant it. Don't give me that.
No, I was thinking his arm. You went all Montana, like you kind of went Midwest up in there.
Come on, man. Wyoming.
Better than the English accent, I'm just saying.
Oh, Lord.
I think we need to stop this before the train completely leaves the tracks.
It's going. It's off track and it left.
All right, so here's the deal. You know how we end these podcasts, right? So what we need to say to the folks that are listening
I can't hear
and watching, what he's trying to tell you is enjoy the ride. Right. To folks that are listening and watching out there, no matter who you are, where you are, and what you're doing between this podcast, and thank you so much for reminding me, Kevin, that I needed to push that button there.
Yeah.
we hope that you, no, we don't hope. We ask that you take time
To enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. Silky and smooth.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.
She's feisty.
Iced tea.